What's going on, guys? It's John here from NHL Hockey to give you NHL trade rumors. Yes, going into the draft and the offseason, these trade rumors are going to be a busy topic of discussion, and I'm going to go over a certain amount of teams. So tonight we'll talk about the Flames, Rangers, Penguins, Leafs, and Oilers. So we'll do different videos like this. So if you are watching this video, please subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it. We do all 31 NHL teams here. Hit a thumbs up and comment your opinion on these rumors. So all these rumors I'm going to bring up in this video, guys, are from reliable sources, multiple reports. I don't just kind of take things out of thin air. I definitely do my research and take what I can get. So for the Flames, we'll start off with the Calgary Flames. Definitely a rough playoff this year. First round exit in 5 to the Avalanche. That's not what they were expecting at all. In Game 5, this is like probably just a big proof, major proof of what's going to come down with James Neal. He was scratched in that Game 5, that elimination game. That proves a lot of what the Flames are thinking right now. I think they gave him lots of chance, lots of opportunities, putting him on different lines. At some points, putting him on the top line to try to get him going, and it didn't work out. So there has been some chatter that they could possibly attach a higher draft pick to lose the contract, but I don't think that's the case. And from multiple sources, they don't think that's the case either. They're either going to trade him for possibly another bad contract or start him out at the year and see what happens there. But they definitely need to figure that out, have a conversation with him, because that contract being over $5 million is not going to work out for the Flames in the future. Frolik's another one. His agent came out, wasn't happy with the ice time he was getting, not happy with the team dynamic for Frolik. And he's a guy, hardworking winger, could probably fit on another team's third line. He could definitely get traded in this offseason. And a guy that I would look out for the Flames, there was chatter that the Flames were close before the deadline, is Jason Zucker from the Wild. I could definitely see the Flames revisiting that towards the draft. For Zucker, high draft pick, potentially a prospect. I will say the Flames have Anderson, Valimaki, and Shillington. Those are three guys that could easily fit onto the defense core for next year for the Flames. So if they don't trade a guy like, and I'm bringing this into the rumors as well, TJ Brody, then they might want to trade one of those younger guys to get a return like Zucker. Brody's a guy, left-handed defenseman. He was partnered with Giordano. Flames fans are not a fan of this guy, but he does only have 1 year left on his contract at a reasonable number, 4.6. So I don't see the merit to trade him unless you're getting, like an okay piece back. But Brody's nothing to stand out, and if you can just keep him for the last year of his contract, it's not a big deal. So Anderson, Valimaki, Shillington, I know they want to keep those guys, but maybe one of those guys warrant a bigger return, like a guy like Zucker who could fit in their top 6. And Zucker's a guy that won't disappoint. Small, gritty a little bit, but just a super smart player. He put himself on the score sheet many times this year, and I think a guy like him could fit perfect on the second line with like a Kachuk and Backlund. So New York Rangers, let's move on. I am wearing the Rangers jersey. Let's talk some Rangers trade rumors. So obviously with the Adam Fox trade, they add another younger defenseman, and this rebuild for the Rangers is like, it couldn't have gone better. Now that you have the second overall pick coming up in the draft, things are definitely going to be moving along fast for the Rangers to get back into playoff contention. There was talk that they were just going to wait for Adam Fox to August 2020 when he would have became a free agent if he didn't sign the contract with Carolina. But they didn't want to take a chance, and they feel a second and third round pick, or potentially a second and second, is definitely worth for a guy that is definitely first round skill level. So Rangers are also going to be trying to trade Shattenkirk, trying to trade Brendan Smith, but these are two guys that could definitely become buyout candidates. I mean, the contracts are horrible. Shattenkirk, right out of the deal, since his deal, has not played well at all. I'm watching fantasy owners this past year, draft him. He did nothing. It's a guy that, yes, he's always had the offensive presence. I mean, he played really well with St. Louis, and then like that time he got traded to Washington, he didn't do anything for them positively. And looking at him, yeah, he has the presence, but defensively he's a liability. He's slower now, obviously getting into his mid-30s. He's a guy that, if the Rangers can't trade him, or at least retain, sources think that to be able to trade this contract now, you're going to have to retain 50%, which is not ideal. And if you're going to have to attach a sweetener as well, maybe a buyout is in the future for him. I think Brendan Smith is definitely more of a buyout candidate, though, as well, as they try to move younger on their defense core. And I do think, looking at these reports, the Leafs being one of the teams, a couple other will be in the mix. I do think the Rangers are one of the teams to look at Jacob Trouba from the Winnipeg Jets. So I would just look out for that as well. Let's move on to the Penguins. So you guys saw my video, Kessel, Subban. Obviously, that's a huge hot take. It could happen. You never know. But a guy that obviously on that right side, a top defenseman is Letang. Letang has been in trade rumors, which is weird already. I think that's more of just the Penguins getting swept. I don't think that's going to go down. Just like of getting Malkin, yeah, they might field some offers, but I think Mario Lemieux at the helm, he's not going to let a trade go down with Letang or Malkin unless it's just they're blown out of the water. I don't think Rutherford would do that either, so that's just my point. Other guys that I could definitely see getting traded from the Penguins: Olli Maatta, Goodbranson, Jack Johnson, and Hornqvist. That Jack Johnson contract wasn't great. Same thing with Goodbranson, but you were bringing a solid defenseman to fit on your bottom pair, and Tanner Pearson wasn't really working out in Pittsburgh. And Olli Maatta, he needs a fresh start. That's just plain and simple. And Hornqvist, again, the contract wasn't the best thing ever. I think they might look into trading him as well. But two guys I could see them looking at would be the Jason Zucker, and I honestly do believe that they might want to remodel their defense. And I mean, a guy like PK Subban, great, but you would have to think about it in a deeper sense that, and I already talked about it in the other video, you'll have 4 right-handed defensemen. You already have 3 right-handed defensemen with Letang, Schultz, and Goodbranson. So you would have to consider that. Let's move on to the Leafs. Kadri or Nylander? That's the big question. Kadri or Nylander? Are they going to stay? Are one of them going to move on? I mean, the Leafs have Kapanen and Johnson to re-sign as well. Mitch Marner is obviously the big topic of discussion, but I can't see that going downhill unless they wait. If they wait till July 1st, it's going to get messy. It's going to get messy like Nylander, but this time it's going to get messy sooner. An offer sheet could go down. But Kadri or Nylander, could one of them get traded? Chris Johnson from Sportsnet brought something up pretty interesting. I know there was already talk about it, but heading into the trade deadline, the Leafs were trying to make another deal. They had made the deal for Jake Muzzin, but they were trying to make another deal. They were trying to make some small deals to gain some cap. I know Connor Brown was talked about to lose that $2.2 million contract or whatever it is shortly after 2. And Nikita Zaitsev, who's at 4.5, that contract's not pretty. I know they were trying to do smaller deals like that, but Chris Johnson thinks that with those small deals, they were trying to bring a bigger fish back. He talked about Kadri being part of this possible deal, or Nylander being part of this possible deal, or other pieces. And he did throw a name out there. He didn't necessarily say that the Leafs, this was the guy that they were looking at, but he marked Aaron Ekblad as a name. I think I talked about it before Nylander signed his contract December 1st, that Aaron Ekblad was the guy that they could look at. $7 million contract. He hasn't really panned out the way the Panthers envisioned. Obviously, he's a defenseman. I'm always saying that on this channel. Defensemen take longer to develop. It's just fact. Defensemen, goalies, forwards, you see a lot more, like, I don't want to say easier growth, but you see forwards become stars in the NHL much sooner. I mean, defense, at the end of the day, warrant a lot more responsibility. And you see younger defensemen coming in thinking they just can explode on offense, but the defensive responsibilities are key, obviously, once you get into the big leagues. Moving on to the Oilers, a guy that they could be trading, and I mean, it hasn't worked out, obviously, since Hall for Larson, Adam Larson. I mean, the Leafs were definitely a team that was probably visiting that option, but I think it was more of like a Matt Benning for Connor Brown, but maybe the Leafs look at Larson heading into the draft. So I think the Oilers were interested in Connor Brown. I wonder if the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins talks will pick up. I know Montreal was interested in him, but with Paling, with Suzuki, I think if those two guys are ready for the NHL, that's not really a trade you would look into unless you felt Nugent-Hopkins could play solid on the left wing for one of those lines. And then Lucic for Eriksson, those rumors came up as of late. I wonder if that would work out. In my opinion, it's interesting because Eriksson is older, but Lucic has an extra year on his contract. So it's positive, negative in a sense that, I mean, the Canucks are moving in a very solid direction. And in my opinion, I think the Vancouver Canucks are actually ahead of the Oilers. The only thing that's keeping the Oilers afloat is the fact that they have Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. For the Canucks, they have a lot more pieces to look at and be happy about. They have many prospects to be proud about. And I just look at the Canucks and, like, you gotta evaluate that. That's one extra year of a bad contract. I think the Oilers are gonna have to definitely maneuver something to get rid of that Lucic contract. I don't really know what it is. If it's just a 1-for-1 bad contract like you've seen before, then maybe. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see, guys. But thank you so much for watching this video. It's just quick hits, just quick takes on trade rumors. But please subscribe to the channel, hit a thumbs up. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. I want to see all your comments below. We'll respond to them. I will acknowledge them. So have a good one. Peace out.